Guys, I just want to do a quick update on the garden, and this is in front of me a canistel, aka lacuma tree, and this is a Bruce variety, and you can see it's pushing out growth as things are heating up. You can see a lot of growth being pushed out. No signs of flowers yet, so I'm still looking forward for that. I don't think that's going to happen this year, but I'm anticipating that next year will be a year that it fruits. So this year I do expect it to increase in size quite a bit, maybe by an extra feet or so. The wax jambu is doing great. It's pushing out a lot of growth on the top, and the flowers are starting to become visible now, and there are tons of flowers, tons and tons of flowers all over every notch of these leaves. You see flowers forming, and it's starting to increase in size. You can see, so I do expect there to be a lot of fruit. This is the black diamond variety. In my opinion, it's probably the most acclimated variety in Southern California. It's cold tolerant for me, and it's also a fast growing variety. One tip I can give is it likes a lot of water, moist soil but well drained, so keep it moist. Don't let it dry out, and it will appreciate you for that. This tree is about, I would say, about 10 feet tall, maybe 9 feet tall, and it's on its third year. And I do trim the sides, as you can see, to keep the alleyway clear. That's my Acerola cherry there, which I'll talk about in a minute. But what I do want to happen with this tree is for it to grow upwards, right, and to form a canopy on the top. But it's growing quite bushy, which is fine because it is a small space that I have. So growing bushy means that I can harvest the fruit more easily. Just below my Acerola cherry, I have kind of a mixture of different things growing in here. I have asparagus there, I have red asparagus, green asparagus, I have strawberries growing, and this is all just starting out literally this year. I have some flowers, some ornamental just to give it some color. I have some orchids growing. I also, next to it, I have a small sugar apple tree growing. I have Kong. I believe they're called the long Kong. I'm not sure. It's the water spinach basically, and also I keep my I also nurse my tree here as well because it gets a lot of shade here, not too much direct sunlight, so it's just a perfect area for me to nurse my tree back to health. These are recently transplanted trees. I do have one variegated guava that's fruited and have set, so I am looking forward to that. This is literally the first month really that I potted this tree or purchased this tree, and it's already producing a fruit for me, so I'm very excited to see that. I have some ornamental stuff growing in the back. That little guy there doesn't look like much right now, but it's a purple or red violet color sugar apple, and I'm going to nurse that guy to health. It's doing well, it's pushing out growth. I got it as this little stick, and I'm already seeing some growth, so it's good signs. Right above it is the Acerola cherry tree. This tree has grown quite a bit. Sorry for the glare. I can't really give you the full shot of the tree because there's a lot of glare coming from the sunlight, but this tree here is on its third year, and it's already over 10 feet tall. It's above my roof already at this point, and it produces tons of fruits every year. You can see actually already starting to fruit. A lot of flowers, a lot of fruits happening on this tree right now, and I do expect it to give me a good production this year, as well as many years to come. The unique thing about this tree is that it produced twice a year for me. If you don't harvest it all in one time. It really kind of just continued to flower and fruit, you know, different times throughout the year. So it's just a continuous flow. But if you harvest everything, there's going to be another flush of flower occurring towards the latter part of the year, right around the fall season when things cool down a little bit. So I have some dragon fruit growing on here, a mixture of red and white varieties there. I have a jabuticaba tree that was literally a twig just 2 years ago. I've put in this shaded area. I've nursed it back to health. I put it in a pot. Uh, nothing great as far as soil goes. It's just a lot of native soil, mixture of a little bit of compost and some worm castings, and I fertilize it time to time. And the tree is doing well. I will need to move this guy out to get some full sun so that the leaves can green up and for it to become fuller again. But for now, I'm pretty happy with the progress so far. All right, this is also on its third year. This is my star fruit tree, so you can see a lot of new growth coming out, and a lot of flowers are coming out as well. And actually, already some fruits have set. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. See that little guy there, that green guy? That's the fruit that is set, and I'm sure it's all over the place, but you just don't see it because it grows again. It grows very bushy. Um, this is really just a giant container. It's interesting because at the bottom it's just concrete. There's no ways for the root to get down. Maybe there's some cracks that the roots might be able to go through over the years, but for now, the tree is just expanding its roots in this self-contained, you know, handmade or man-made container that I did here. So it's a lot of soil, and star fruits are known to be container plant or trees, and so I figure something as much dirt or soil as this will be enough for it to to live on for forever, really, just as long as I top it off every year with compost. And you can see it's kind of a compost pile for me here. I just toss pretty much any junk in here and expects it to decompose. I fill it up pretty high every year, and it just kind of comes down a good maybe 10 inches just because of decomposition. So next to it, I have the pomelo tree. This guy's doing really well. It was, it was pretty bad in the first year or so, but this is everything here in my garden. It's pretty much on its third year, and it's doing well, and it's producing pomelos for me. Though a lot of these are occurring. It's basically the flowers are not set. Which is kind of weird because I have a lot of bees here, and I'm not sure why the fruits don't set a lot more. But in any case, there are a lot that have set, and so I do expect for it to be fairly good production this year, decent for a tree this size, and as you can see, so they're kind of all over the place. I'm thinking maybe about 20 fruits on this little guy right now. And yeah, fertilize it. I think I'll make a video talking about my fertilizing regimen and my watering schedule and things like that. I think that might be interesting for some folks out there that might be inquiring. And I do have received a few inquiries about that as well. This is my Saigon mango. So I keep forgetting the name of this one, but apparently it's a pretty rare variety, and you can see there's already lots of fruits that formed. It's just a little tree that's on its second season, really a season and a half, because I bought it last fall, so it didn't really get a full season of growth, and so anyways, it's liking this spot here in the garden. Gets full sun a pretty good part of the day, and the walls radiates a lot of warmth and a lot of heat coming back during nighttime as well. So this is probably the best spot in my garden. I decided to give it to this mango tree that I do plan to graft more and more onto. So my dinosaur kale is doing really well. Buddha's happy with the garden. my Satsuma mandarin tree. Just a little guy. I don't know if you can see it, but a few fruits. Maybe 3 or 4. Yeah, maybe more. Maybe more. Maybe about 6 or 7 fruits down there. I have some Sambach jasmine growing in the back. I have lots of dragon fruit just kind of trailing its way down in containers. This Manuka grape has just gone wild. I have cut off a lot of branches and it's just, man, it does not want to stop growing. Lots of fruits already setting. Lots of fruits, lots of bundles of fruits all over the plant. And I've decided to start to protect a few of these bundles, and I'm going to do more. See that? And it's just protected from birds and things like that. My dog mostly. And these are, I don't know what these bags are called, but they're just these jewelry bags, I suppose. And I learned it from a friend on Facebook, and it works great. I bought the smaller version. This is the larger one for my bigger fruits, like I'm going to use on my wax jambu and my apples. Already started using that on my apple trees. But there's a smaller one for the smaller fruits like grapes and things of that sort. So all my dragon fruit has just gone wild. Look at that. I'm not a professional dragon fruit grower, but it's doing well. It's just doing its thing, and I'm just gonna grow this up the stake. I'm gonna just, these are all recycled wood that I've collected of trimming the yard, and I have a lot more of it, but I'm just using it as a trellis to tie up the dragon fruit. So I think it will look pretty cool later on. It still gets full sun despite the fact that there's grapes growing on the top, and I think it's just a nice touch to the garden. Gives it a little shade during some parts of the afternoon, but for the most part it gets full sun. Right here, that is my lemon tree. This is the improved Mayer lemon. Mayer, might be pronouncing that wrong, sorry. I think it's the improved variety, I'm not sure. It came with the house. It's a really large fruit, lots of juice. The rind is pretty thick as well, so I'm sure it's good for cooking. I'm a terrible cook, so my wife is coming here soon from Vietnam, and I'm looking forward for her to utilize this to its potential. So ooh, look at this line here. It looks kind of variegated. I don't know if you guys can tell. That's not really variegated, but sort of has that texture. Okay, so mangoes, more mangoes. I have the Alfonso there, flowering, and I do expect it to fruit this year. This is the Val Cherry variety, brand new. This is literally its first season. My Tong something died, so that one didn't. I'm not sure. I think it might be root rot, but it just decided to die. I have no idea. I planted the two same spot, but the Val Cherry is just taking off. But the Val Cherry is a mixture of Valencia and the Cherry, so it's a hybrid between the two, and a lot of people love it. A lot of people about it. So I'm not too sure. I decided to grow it anyway because it's an interesting variety. Not a lot of people have, so just to try it out. I think the fruit will wind up being pretty good. I'm not a total mango snob or anything, so I think it'll taste pretty good. All right, behind it I have some grapes, more grapes that are probably going to start taking up all the way up this tree this year. I've been trimming it like crazy, but it's just out of control. Lots of fruits in there. I'm not even gonna bother showing you guys, but just trust me, there's tons of fruits in there. I have some comfrey here growing. And that guy laid a bunch of babies or eggs and have hatched into babies under the eaves of my house. That's the mama right there, and that's the papa, and they just hang out. Bitter melon fruit. Bitter melon fruit growing up this umbrella that I'm recycling. Dragon fruit. Lots of cool varieties in here from thanks to Kyle, friend on Facebook, that is starting to push out. So that's kind of the overall part update on the main part of the backyard garden. Um, I've added some additions here. These are the pineapple uh, strawberries, or the white variety. Very cool tasting. Supposedly taste like pineapple, but to be honest, I've tried them and they don't taste like pineapple to me. They are good tasting though. They just don't taste like pineapple. Um, I have some Japanese cucumbers here growing. You can see actually have started to fruit. I have some more citrus tree here. I have 5-in-1 plum and prune and more plums, and just it's 5-in-1. So first season, lots of growth already, doing well. This is my Garcinia tree. This is the achacha. It's doing well, pushing out growth. Everything I grow is edible, by the way. So even this grass-looking thing is edible. It grows in the high part of high mountainous area in China that I was able to purchase the plant on eBay and brought it here. So it made it through customs somehow, and it's doing really well. It's very medicinal apparently, though I haven't had time to further research it to try it. So I like to research it first before I try anything. My strawberry little, I don't know what to call it, just a raised container on this ghetto looking table, and it's doing well. It's lots of fruits too, though I wish it was more fruit or larger fruit, but this is his first year, so I can't expect too much out of this guy this year yet. I got some loofahs growing up top. It's gonna take over this trellis. I have cucumbers taking that part of the trellis up, and then on the other end I have squash, Vietnamese squash, that's going to be taking up this part. You can see it's already, it's gonna go off. Look at the size of these leaves already, and it's only gonna get larger. My Gefner Hatimoya tree coming back to life. My pawpaw, my little pawpaw tree. Two of them. This one's the larger one. There's one right next to it. I'm supposed to cross-pollinate one another. Both of them have decided to flower this year, which is kind of interesting. They're all pretty small. And one of them's flowered, and or this one flowered, and so is the other one, but the other one didn't set. But I think this one was set, just based on the look of it and how long the flowers stayed open. I feel like it's going to set. My jackfruit tree. This is an interesting jackfruit tree, thanks to this guy right here. Hey, buddy. Wasu? Wasu? I mean, sit down, by the way. Give me a hand. Yeah. Yeah, you're a good boy. So, this jackfruit tree has, like being diagonal, and started growing upwards, so I decided to leave it alone. And it's doing really well. It's pushing out lots of growth. It actually flowered last year, so though I cut off the flower because it's still a very small tree, this is air layer from my dad's tree, which is a 15-plus-year-old tree at this point, and have been fruiting for the last maybe 7-8 years. Actually no, been fruiting maybe for the last 10 years, and large production, large fruits, and he's very happy with it. Who would have figured, huh? Jackfruit in Southern California. And I'm continuing the tradition. I'm air layering more of it, and I have a few of these air layer growing in my yard. Muscadine grapes mixed with jelly vine, Vietnamese jelly vine. This is the Florida large brown longan, so not your BQ, not your koala. This is the large, the brown variety that you find in the supermarkets. So they're fairly rare. You don't find this variety too often in nurseries. Maybe just a handful of nurseries have them, I think. Okay, right above this tree, tomato tree, is it's kind of a nuisance, but it looks cool. The leaves are large. It looks kind of prehistoric in a way, so I just decided to leave it. It is a plant, but look at how big this trunk is. Okay, these are my quails here. Produce lots of eggs for me to eat. I don't eat them for meat or grow them for meat. This guy's doing well, though I broke off the tip. The tip would have probably been all the way up there at this point, but unfortunately I broke it because I was tree trimming this giant nuisance tree, and yeah, it just fell and it broke the tip off. A few fruits this year, not a lot, but I love the fruit. The fruit tastes amazing. It has a bit of a salty, interesting salty aftertaste, which is cool. So this one's on its second year? No, maybe third year. This is on its third year, and it's doing really well. Lots of ginger growing all over. These are the Japanese ginger. I have the galango ginger growing in the little corner there, and I have some Chinese ginger. So I just have a mixture of different ginger, and they just they commingle in this little area. I have my pheasants there. I don't know if you guys can see. These are my pheasants, and I have lots of serranos. I have a passion fruit growing over the the chicken coop. I have some bananas back there, pineapple guava, um, more passion fruit. I have the yellow variety back there, sugar cane in the corner. I'm not gonna take you guys through all that. This is my Valencia orange, multi-graft with pomelo, with caracara, with Washington navel, all doing well. This is a grafted kamito tree or purple star fruit tree, and this is the first time I'm trying a grafted variety. I've actually gotten kamito to produce flowers, but never set fruit, and so I'm really curious how this guy will do, because this is actually a different variety than your typical star fruit, which are most likely seedlings that you buy. Um, and they're not too acclimated here, but this one's doing well. It survived through the winter on its own, no protection needed, and you can see the leaves are coming out quite nicely. And it's a beautiful leaf, your typical golden bottom and green on top. And I've been feeding this one well. I'm hoping for it to do well. Once it gets a little bit bigger, taller, bushier, I'm gonna put it in the ground next to another Kamito tree that I have, which is a seedling, so it's a different variety that one day I hope that they will both produce flowers and will be able to cross-pollinate one another. One thing I've been hearing about, or have heard for quite some time, with the Camino, is that the fruit doesn't have enough time to actually develop the fruit fully, because we don't have a long enough season here, even in Southern California. So the fruit would get to be larger than golf ball sizes, I believe. And of course, frost comes, winter comes, and it goes dormant, and the fruits become bad. And so I've been hearing a lot of stories about that, and I've, but yeah, I've yet to see a actual mature um, Camino fruit. And you know what they say about jackfruit? A few years ago, it was impossible, right? And here my dad has a 15-year-old tree that's been fruiting for him for the last 10 years. So, um, don't squash the idea unless you try it, is my thing. So I'm willing to give this one a try. I'll keep you guys updated how the Camino does. So this bed is a bed that I just dumped lots of compost, lots of mulch, and I just let it decompose over a year or 2 years actually, and then I started deciding to plant in it, and it's doing really well. The soil is completely dark and rich, it holds the moisture really well, and I grow a wide variety of things here. Some tomatoes, some different tomatoes there. I got some Swiss chards. I got some golden raspberries. So these are the golden ones, okay? And By the way, everything here is all literally just first season in the ground. I have asparagus there, so looking forward to see a good batch of asparagus there in the coming years. I have some, not sure what these are called, gooseberries. I have lots of yucca, aka cassava, growing. This is all from one plant that I planted and harvested, and I just recently planted these cuttings, so I should get lots of cassava growing. I have sugar cane. I have some red varieties that are coming up, white varieties or green, and then I have some Hawaiian ones that honestly not doing that well. The ones in the backyard, on the side yard, is doing well, but this one's not. I'm hoping that under there it will still give me some growth, so I'm not completely taking it out yet, but so far it's not looking good. Some of the cuttings I picked up from online, it just hasn't done it for me. I don't know if it's a climate difference or maybe there's something I'm doing, but if you guys have some tips, let me know. This is the Hawaiian variety that's striped in color, and it looks really cool, really pretty sugar cane. I'm not sure how it tastes. Apparently it tastes pretty good as well, but I mainly want to plant it for its look because it is very unique. Right at the center of the bed is a gramachima. It's a berry, cherry looking thing. The fruit tastes really good in my opinion. I believe it's in the guava family, surprisingly enough. They produce these dark black berries that taste very unique, but for the most part tastes kind of like your Bing cherry, but I think there's a slight hint of a tart and bitterness to it. I've tried quite a few already off this tree, but I can't recall what it tastes like between this and the cherry, the Rio Grande. I can't remember exactly the composition of the taste of each. In the backyard you saw the black diamond. This is the black pearl. So this is a more of a bell-shaped wax jambu that is starting to flower. And this is a little bit behind the other tree, so you can see some of the flowers starting to come out. So it's probably about 3 weeks behind the other tree, maybe 2 weeks. So this is a sweeter fruit than the wax, the black diamond variety, but it's also a smaller fruit. So I have a few varieties growing in my yard. This is also on its 3rd year. Actually, no, this one's 2 years old. This is also another wax jambu variety. It's called it's a white variety. It's called a calm, and it suffered some winter damage a year or so ago, and I decided to grow it here out in the open because I tried to baby it too much, and for some reason it still got damaged. But as soon as I leave it out here, giving it room to grow, right here getting a lot of sunlight, it does really well. Lots of new growth all over the place. Next to it is a smaller wax jambu. It too is a different variety. I forgot what it's called. I believe it's the missile rocket or something like that. I can't remember. But apparently it's a good Thai variety, and it's doing well. This is my Alano Chico Sapote, very slow growing, but finally decided to put out this tall stalk here, and look forward to it producing lots more flowers this year. Oh, actually, there are some flowers previous year that didn't set fruit, unfortunately, but I'm hoping this year will be it. I'm starting to see some of the flowers pushing out, so I have expectation that some of them will set, hopefully. And then back there, I don't know if you guys can see it, that's my other Chico Sapote tree. That's the Namcock or Numnock? I can't remember the name of it off top. Here's a jackfruit. So this is a jackfruit tree that I purchased that is not something I air layered. This is the Fairchild variety. Does pretty well considering all things. I'm hoping for some flowers next year, not this year. I'm hoping it gets larger in size this year. Here's some lots of flowers this year. I've actually harvested some of the fruits already last year. This is the Petoma, and it's doing well. This spot behind it is this little guy that I saved from a nursery that was trying to get rid of it, and it is a June plum tree because it was suffering pretty bad frost issues. But it's doing well. It's recovering. It comes back. Lots of growth just all over the trunk. I don't know if you guys can see it, but and flowers as well. So it will fruit this year. My poor little moringa tree. After trimming it, it's coming out. Looking forward to harvest this guy. It's supposedly a very fast-growing tree, but pretty slow for me. I don't know why. Maybe it's my area. But it seems to be thriving this year. Compared to last year, it was kind of hanging along, and I decided to cut it back, and it's coming back strong. My jackfruit air layer tree. This one actually fruited 6 months after I air layered it. So I didn't even nurse it at all. Right after air layer, I planted it straight in the ground, and it fruited from this branch right here that I've cut off. You can see the nub right here. That's proof that it did fruit. And I cut it off because I didn't want the tree to stress out, obviously, because it hasn't been developed its roots yet. And this year I'm hoping to, if it does fruit, I will keep the fruit. So that's a pretty large air layer I did. It does really well, not stressed at all by the frost, by the rain, by the cold, or the heat. Very acclimated to SoCal. My dad's original tree is now 14 to 15 years old and has been producing for at least 10 years. Good size fruit, very good tasting, of more of an orange color, dark orange, than your typical yellow. It's very good.